Hey guys, it's Aaron here. This is a different episode of BTS. We decided to use the digital Q&A we did from Sinweek to kind of give you more behind the scenes talk and questions from you and our SinClub members. So we'll be back with the regular stuff next week, but for now, enjoy the Q&A.
I've learned a lot about filmmaking in general, or story.
What? You learned about filmmaking? CinemaSins? Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Hello! Welcome to Sinweek! This is the first event of Sinweek 2022. Thank you to all our amazing members of the SinClub, who many of whom have joined us in the last couple of days. It's been so encouraging to see so many of you coming and hanging out with us and supporting what goes on here. I'll go through kind of what we're doing tonight. Before I do that, though, some introductions. Please welcome Mr. Jeremy Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause, Jeremy.
Oh, it's me. It's me. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
And give a warm welcome to our friend Ian Whittington.
Hello. Cool, blimey.
And of course, Chris Atkinson in the upper right corner. Welcome to Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hello. How's it going?
Daniel Cardoso down in the lower left. Good to see Daniel hanging out with us today. Lower center square, Danae Hughes.
What?
Hanging out
Woo!
tonight. And finally, Jonathan Watkins, lower right.
What up? Last and least. Hello.
Is it in that order for everybody?
Let's hope.
I think that's it. I think that's all of us.
Well, also Aaron Dicer.
We are excited. So we have some questions we're going to get to. This is a Q&A podcast, and thank you for hanging out with us. We are watching your questions come in live. So if you have something you want to ask us, that's what tonight is about. Put it in there. We will select those kind of as they come in to answer.
I thought we were just answering Trivial Pursuit questions. I'm very confused.
No, that's next week. That's next
Oh,
week.
okay.
That's not it. Also, many of you have presented questions already on the Discord. Thank you for doing that. We'll be answering some of those as well, and just kind of going through and chatting with you guys tonight. So if everybody's ready, we'll start answering your questions.
Can we start with Catherine's question that came in at 7:00 that says, "Why does Danae's hat have a W?" Because that's a real easy one I can answer.
All right, we'll go with the hard-hitting questions first. Catherine asks, why does Danae's hat have a W?
She's upside down.
Yes. I'm actually a Stranger Things in the upside down world or whatever. This is from Sinweek, so it's the W for Sinweek, and this was our custom hat that we had for 2020. So these are, let's see.
Nice. Nice.
The W is for without.
Good call.
I'm curious about Shaggy Nuts' question, though, because I want to know how many people on this panel know who Jim J. Bullock is.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I do, yeah. I think we're old enough.
I'm
There's a
old
lot of
enough.
experience
Some of us
question,
are-
right?
Some of us are old enough.
I don't know
I'm
what
old
that is.
enough.
Freaking Ian, born in the year 2000.
Basically, Is that Sandra Bullock's pet cat?
Yes. Jim J. Bullock is Sandra
Yes,
Bullock's pet
yes, it
cat.
is.
Nailed it.
Hollywood Squares in the 1980s. He was a frequent. What's so funny?
Ian saying nailed it.
Got it in one.
All right, let's kick it off here. We will start with some of the pre-questions that you guys have asked, and thank you for those. With the exception of Jeremy and Chris, what was your reaction when you were approached to become a writer for the show?
Screw you guys.
Yeah, Jonathan, let's start with you. What was your reaction?
I've told the story before, but I don't know if surely not everybody's heard it. So I wrote for Music Video Sins for about 9 months before I became a CinemaSins writer. And then one day, it was one morning, I just got an email saying, "Welcome to CinemaSins." And everyone thought someone had told me. And no one had told me. So that was a cool way to start my morning.
Wow. I don't think I ever heard that
remember this
story.
at all.
But it was like, well, it was just you sent an email to me and Aaron saying, "Welcome to CinemaSins. Here's your assignments." And so it was just kind of like a quick thing that happened one morning. I was like, okay, I'm writing for CinemaSins now. Yay. So I don't know. That was my
Okay.
reaction.
All right. Well, glad that you still wanted to be on, even though we
Of
didn't
course I
discuss
wanted
it
to
with
be
you.
on. It was just a nice surprise.
So my first memory was writing Jonathan an email, prank email, saying "Welcome to CinemaSins." Jeremy and Chris had to stick with it and go with it.
We did.
No, Jeremy approached me to write some Secret Sins on La La Land, and that was super fun and exciting. I really enjoyed it, and so then I just kept pestering him until he let me write him more stuff.
Similarly, although with Jonathan it was an accident, but here there were people not told, like Chris, until after the fact. I was like, hey, by the way, these sins, Dicer helped write some of those. So what do you say we think about maybe considering him for some writing? So I totally sneaked it in there, I don't know, that guy.
You even wrote an email saying something like, that guy Aaron I've been talking about? I asked him if he wanted to write some sins on La La Land and just sneak it in and tell nobody. And he said that was a great idea. So here's some sins that he wrote for La La Land. And at first I was like, you've got some goddamn nerve, mister. And then I read it and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. You can go with those.
Possible.
Yeah.
Not the worst.
Yeah.
Danae, what about you?
So Aaron had mentioned that there was talk around the CinemaSins water cooler of wanting to have a woman on the team, and I happen to have those credentials.
Nice.
Indeed.
Nice. About those credentials.
That was the only qualification.
That's right. That's
that
right.
was it, guys.
If only I had gotten out more, I would have just picked whoever was off the street first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The truck, the trash truck lady, she had a shot, but
Yep,
Chris
absolutely.
didn't catch up with the truck in time.
I couldn't run out there in time. That's true.
So no, truly it became just okay, what does that mean? And also, can I write down the things that are in my head in a way that is fun to read and to be narrated? And so I just started writing on a couple of scripts, and it turns out that the standout sin for me, which is one of my favorite stories that Jeremy tells, was on Aladdin when they mention the flying carpet up, and it's like, oh, he's here, and my sin was or she. So the brilliance of my writing came down to 2 words.
I think it's a perfect illustration. I even think I sent Chris an email saying this is a perfect illustration of why we needed a woman on the team, because I would never have thought to write, why did you assume the gender of carpet? Let carpet tell you what carpet's gender is. And so anyway, that's just a silly, small little example, but the impact of that is real, I think.
It's real, yeah. So then
Aaron snuck your sins in on TV sin scripts that me and him were working on. And then he told me later I picked all of your stuff and none of his.
I loved that day because I was like, I don't think I'm good at this. But sometimes you just end up doing something and people see something in you and you just have to kind of, okay. And I was along for the ride.
And it was, I believe it was...
was it Game of Thrones?
No, maybe that was one of them. But the one I specifically remember was, what's the one, The Handmaid's Tale? Because I knew Aaron liked that show. And the script he sent me was all, God, I fucking hate this. This is, and then obviously some female centric type stuff that I'm like, Aaron's really digging deep, man. He's he's finding that narrator's voice. And, and then it was like, no, just somebody else wrote better sins than him. So that's cool.
Ian.
Well, there was talk around the CinemaSins water cooler that we needed an English person on the team.
Right. That's correct. That's correct.
Oh, no. Then Chris just turns up on my door.
Strangely, also the garbage lady that I missed was English. So, you could have saved a ton of money, just hired her instead. But yeah, so I knew Danae from D&D stuff. And do I need to get my copy as well? Yes.
And equally snuck some of my sins in, or asked if I wanted to write some sins for.
I'm seeing a theme here.
Yeah, for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I think everyone liked my sins better than Danae's. Or there's 130 sins here for this half-an-hour TV show. Why did you write so much, Danae? But yeah, I think one of my first sins that apparently was a standout was Unlucky Bucky Stucky Under a Trucky. I was like, if all I needed to do was
I
rhyme,
remember that. No, I worked on the script today. I remember that very well.
but
I knew there was another writer, but I didn't know which one because there was like a few.
No, he
That
wrote
is-
for real. You actually really wrote.
I
Liar.
wrote so much for that one, and that was my first like kind of semi-ish negative comment on YouTube as well. Because like that's not a sin, that's just rhyming, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, welcome to the channel.
They must be new here because we've done that a million times. What
You
the
must be
hell?
new here. Welcome to
I will say
CinemaSins.
this. I will say this. One of both Ian and Daniel. I'm sorry to talk about Daniel before he even gets a chance to talk here, but one of your videos, one of your first videos, still hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I almost said that title too. I forgot about
And
The third video.
I think it's possible that you can guess what it is based on the fact that it hasn't come out yet.
There's
but-
a chance it won't come out this year.
It's so funny that like this happened a long time ago with the Amityville Horror, because we wanted to have something. It's stupid. That Bella Thorne Amityville Horror was supposed to come out, like, I don't know what year it was supposed to come out. It got moved back 100 times.
2004.
Yeah, 2004. When Bella Thorne was 5, and we wanted to do the original and the remake, and we had it was me and a couple of other new writers, and we all did Amityville Horror and was ready to go, and then like they kept pushing it back, and we had these scripts for like I think a year and a half. They weren't even produced videos. This one is a produced video.
Yeah.
It's just sitting there.
It's been sitting there forever. And when we finally get to that video, it's going to be like, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
God, that
Ooh.
was like, how long ago was that? Hope we didn't write anything, that's out of date
Well,
now.
Yeah, that's kind of it. And I'm talking about it on BTS. I won't have a clue. I'm like, yeah, I could have wrote that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel, what about you?
Well, there was talk around the water cooler.
Oh no.
I love this discussion around
I know.
this
Why didn't I
virtual
start with that?
water
Man.
cooler that we
guys-
definitely have not been around ever. There's never been a
Nope.
time when somebody sat around the water
I
cooler,
don't
but
think I've ever been around a water cooler talking to anyone in my
No.
entire life, and I've worked
No.
in offices.
Yep. Anyway,
So that may or may not have happened. I don't actually know.
mhm.
It seems like it might have, and then someone probably snuck my sins into something. I presume- I have no know of this.
Probably did.
Like, I have
Yep.
no knowledge of this.
Oh
But,
man.
My first memory was actually because was it Jake from NADPOD? I don't know how you guys got into contact, but he sent me a text and was just like, I sent your information to CinemaSins, and I was just like, okay. And I didn't think about twice about it because I was like, that's a random thing. And then like
And-
Danae actually contacted me, and then I was like, oh, it's real. Like I thought this is just like a weird joke.
Oh
And
man.
this is Jake connected to College Humor, Jake, right?
Yeah.
And I
Oh, nice.
remember when Danae told me about this, I was like, there are some elements of College Humor who hate us. So I'll be surprised to see if I'm surprised that there's somebody from there who actually wants to write for us, or who is associated with them that wants to write for us. So
I know nothing of that. So I don't.
it was
drop that.
probably just one person who came out with their one video, and
Yeah.
College Humor is a huge place. I've even been in that building.
I have to.
Yep. And it's, it's probably one of many who had one opinion about CinemaSins, and then I painted the whole College Humor experience on that one person.
I would like to,
As you do.
for the record, for those of you who are here in attendance, I believe when we hired Danae, we already knew Danae. Chris and I did. I had met and hung out with her and Dicer a few times before I think Chris ever met her. And I think she might be a good fit, and it would be good to have a woman on the team. I don't know that we started there. And I will say then, when we went about hiring our next two writers, which turned out to be Ian and Daniel, we did say we wanted to get as diverse as possible, but those were blind hires. Like Chris and I did not know anything about either one of you guys. or the other candidate when we were reviewing scripts. And so, we really wanted to hire, I was crossing my fingers going, man, I hope we don't get 2 more white guys from Nashville. But we really wanted to hire based on the writing, and it worked out. I think we have 2 great new perspectives in the writing that add to the voice overall. But there is no water cooler. Those conversations did not happen as they were portrayed here, and that is my official statement.
Yep. Yeah, the first time I met Danae, she was pregnant and she was in my kitchen.
That's right. And one thing has really little to do with the other.
No, they don't.
I was also making a sandwich.
I've never heard this story. So wait, you came with Aaron to Nashville? Was that like for a convention or something?
Aaron was doing our best of the year.
Oh, and Danae came with him?
I think you also did have the radio convention or something going on at that point too.
Yep. Yeah, she had dropped him off, and I was like, "Oh, hey, there's Danae from the the DNA podcast." Oh, I gotcha, right. And then didn't see her again until her child was like 3 years old.
And the first time I met her was we just had like a Zoom meeting or something, and Danae was just there hanging out, or you were working on something. I'm sure you guys had done DNA that morning or something. And Aaron introduced you to all of us, or the ones of us that didn't know you. So
yeah, in general, most of the staff has either been friends or known each other, and then we've just been thinking about how to have a different voice and bring in new perspectives. So it's really fun to see the whole team kind of shift and all have this water cooler between us.
Okay, we're gonna have to make a freaking water cooler.
There's got to be a water cooler at Sinweek.
100%.
Future Sinweeks. Yeah, that's basically halfway there.
That's true. Aaron drinks out of one every day.
And I know you were joking, Jonathan, but I did have a job where we had a small kitchen that had a water cooler with like filtered water. It would run, the line ran from the sink to the water cooler, and we would stand in the kitchen. Some would get coffee, some would get water, and we would talk about, the latest Breaking Bad or, whatever Arrested Development, whatever we were watching at that point. So I think that's kind of where it comes from. I think Seinfeld is the show that really invented that phrase, because it was that kind of show where if you didn't see it, you were going to be lost on all the jokes the next day. Although Saturday Night Live may have done some of that before Seinfeld came along too, because I remember in middle school watching Saturday Night Live against my parents' wishes on a black and white TV at midnight, just so that the next day in the cafeteria I could laugh at whatever people were.
Hey, remember black and white TVs?
I do.
Yes. Remember antennas? I was also on a waterbed. You want to go all the way back?
I had a waterbed for most of high school. Yes.
Yeah.
It popped.
All right. So that's our first question. Took about 25 minutes.
This is like a Kevin Smith Q&A.
It is.
Let's go into the next one. And I will say for those watching, I already told everybody here, not every person is going to answer every question like we did there. I just thought those stories would be fun for everybody to hear. I thought that was a good place for us to start.
I have like 5 pages of the questions you already sent us, so I hope that's okay.
All right. So let's go here next. What movie do you think you could confidently write the entire Sin script on your own? Who wants to answer that one?
Brave Little Toaster.
I'll tell you what, it's interesting. Jeremy and I have both done this. I don't think anybody else has so far.
I haven't. No.
We have scripts, especially back in the 2013 through 15 era, where we wrote on our own. I think Jeremy wrote The Matrix on his own, and I wrote Back to the Future on my own, and also I wrote The Room and Birdemic on my own. There's a couple of others in there, like Underworld and Resident Evil, I think had some.
Story about, I think Friday the 13th, the first one, because you were talking about that scene where she's making coffee in real time. You were telling me about that one.
Oh yeah, the Friday the 13th was weird because we had just gotten, I believe we had just gotten where our videos were longer than normal, and I think people were sort of expecting a high sin count and everything. And I was doing this Friday the 13th and I only got like 70 or 80 or something like that. And I was like, but there's so many scenes in this where it's just somebody walking from the kitchen to the living room to something. And there wasn't a lot to pick on, on that. But you just end up going, all right, I'm satisfied with this, and there's not anything else you can say about this.
That coffee making scene is insane for anyone who's never seen it.
I
mean, it's
do.
literally you see every step of making coffee. Or maybe it's tea or coffee, whatever it is.
Those are wildly different processes. But I do want to caution everybody who might answer this question, because I did write The Matrix by myself. I had seen that movie 30 or 40 times before. That is a movie I wrote probably 30 sins before I even pressed play, just because I know the film so well. And I still messed something up that Chris caught. There's a line in there where this is actually one of the sequels. I think it's the second one, but I wrote that one by myself too. There's a line in there where Niobe says something about, I think she says, we just dropped 4 pads, talking about the hovercraft. And I have always misheard that line as we dropped down to 4 pads. And I was like pointing out, no, there's pads over here, and pads over here. And Chris was like, no, that's not what she said. And I had seen that movie so many times. I had basically written that. So careful, brave little toaster, before you answer this question.
Well,
you may not be as capable as you think.
There's one in the Matrix, the first Matrix. Is it the first Matrix? It might be. Yeah, I don't remember. Actually, it's got to be Matrix Reloaded. This has got to be, because you were on your own on this one. There's a scene where Neo is fighting Agent Smith, but they're not in the Matrix anymore, and they're because they're down in La La Land, and they're fighting, and you had a sin in there talking about they're basically equal down here or something like that. And I remember like asking you about it, and then you ended up just cutting it straight up. Like there was no discussion about it. And I was like, wait a minute, I think you have something here. It's like, nah, it's already sent off. And it would, I think it was a good one, because it's trying to make it seem like Agent Smith and Neo still have the same powers down in, in this place, and they don't. They're not in the Matrix anymore. And they're just having this fist fight, and it's like this is regular Mr. Anderson versus whoever Mr. Smith is.
My favorite thing is that we've gone like 5 minutes, and only Danae has answered for 20 seconds, and the question has therefore otherwise been ignored.
That's true. It's truly a Kevin Smith type of Q&A for sure.
Yes, I would say Clue for me. I don't think I'd have a problem with Clue. I know that movie. I know every second of that movie. And also my other answer, which is kind of a joke and kind of not, is Jason Takes Manhattan. I think I would kill that script.
Yeah.
I would let you have it.
We might get there eventually. We've done the first 2. You never know.
If you ever want to send Swing Kids, I think I can knock that one out off my own.
Well, it's only a matter of time before swing becomes a thing again.
That's right.
Or just a fucking Swing Kids reunion. Swing Kids 2, 40 years later. Now they have canes.
That Cherry Poppin' Daddy's comeback tour is happening soon. It's got to be. So
You're right. What does that mean, Cherry Poppin' Daddies?
It's a weird name for a band.
It's about desserts.
It's about desserts, yeah.
Oh,
desserts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded kind of dirty.
I don't even remember the song. I just remember the name of the band. I don't remember their hit.
Anybody else want to answer before we move on?
Yeah, I could easily, I say easily, do Star Trek First Contact, because that's, I think of all the Star Trek films, the one I've seen the most, and I'm sure I would get something very specific wrong about why the ship wouldn't have exploded or would have done or whatever. But my kind of jokey one is Evolution.
Oh.
Which is the David Duchovny.
I'm sorry. What? What did you call it?
Evolution. Sorry, Evolution.
I'd rather it be Evolution.
I do too, man. I like that. Let's go with that.
Well, I'd sin Evolution because it's just an easy one to sin.
Can I draw over his face?
Do I sound that southern?
Yeah. That's a nice gift.
All right. We'll head on to the next one. If you could hire any celebrity as a guest narrator, who's your dream voice?
I meant to look her name up. The woman who does Yzma's voice on God, what is her? I'm gonna look it up.
On what? What is that from?
Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah. Because she has such an incredible voice, like just the way that it sounds, and I think it would be really fun to hear.
That's the Kit.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
She has like this gritty, sort of gravelly voice, and
not the lover.
Yeah, the way that she just expresses, I think it would be really fun to hear her take on a narration.
She passed away in 2008, just FYI. But other
Oh,
no!
is that a limitation?
it might be. I don't know. If you go swimming with sharks, they're never dead. They're just
That's true.
What is it? They're just unavailable. Is that what it is? I can't remember.
Yeah, that in Swimming with Sharks is like, don't say that. Don't ever say that. It's just
totally
unavailable.
forgot that she passed away. But
She
that's
was
still
one of
my
the
pick.
original Catwoman.
Yep.
Oh, she's got
Anybody else?
I mean, first of all, I'm personally offended by this question. Second of all, I'm still scarred from that Kevin Smith experience where he co-wrote and co-narrated on Star Wars and had banked the same for Empire and Return of the Jedi. And a large enough portion of our fan base was apparently anti-Kevin Smith, which aside, how can you be anti that guy? But anyway, and left enough negative comments and downvotes, he went on and commented and said, I love this video and these guys. I'm sorry I ruined the thing that I love, blah, blah, blah. And then didn't want to do the other two videos, and I don't blame him. I'm scarred from that. So I don't know that I want anyone that I like to come on and guest narrate, because I'm afraid 5% of our fans will shitpile them and make them feel like hell. But if I just went on voice alone, James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Who did not die in 2008.
No, he didn't. He was in Coming to America.
I remember
coming to America.
getting that narration from Kevin Smith, and because I was on the edit for that movie, and I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And like he took sins we wrote and then turned them into the Kevin Smith rants. And then I was like, these are really funny, man. I can't wait till everybody gets to hear this. We also, and this is weird because we actually played this video without the Kevin Smith stuff at the Providence, the Rhode Island Comic-Con.
Yeah.
We played it without that. And then later on we had the new Kevin Smith stuff in there later, and people demanding to see the original version. That was upsetting.
I still remember him going off about Luke Skywalker wanting to have sex with the droids. That's why he was going to get droids, or it was something like that. It was.
I can't remember either,
It
but
was something like that.
I know that he would take the sin that was written that we thought were the right ones for him or whatever, and then he just went off on a whole tangent, which was amazing. So I was like, God, this is so good. I can't wait till people hear this. And you know what? Just like anything, it's probably a very vocal minority, and everybody else liked it. But it's hard to ignore those.
Thanksgiving Day. That was Thanksgiving Day that video came out. And so I spent the entire day eating turkey in sadness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Somebody else.
I think Denny Huggies would be a really good person.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would love Morgan Freeman or Samuel L. Jackson to do our Sins videos. Especially Samuel L. Jackson, because he could pull off the anger. So, I think that would be awesome to hear him go through a rant of some sort, especially like a Harry Potter rant or something. Like that would be so incongruous to what he is and everything. It would be so funny to hear him, talk about, how do they, just go through a whole paragraph
Just
of a rant.
punking his wand.
Yeah.
I wrote down J.K. Simmons. I think he'd kind of fall under that too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's got a good voice.
Mm-hmm.
I would love Tom Hardy, but the Welsh accent that he does for Locke instead. Because when he gets really angry at his dad, and the fact that I want
him to do the Bane voice, right? So we couldn't even understand anything.
Yeah, we did that the right thing.
Was that a good accent? Because that's not his native accent, is it?
It's not, but it's fantastic. It's a very good Welsh accent. He's from London or something. He's very English, but it's a great Welsh accent. I can't believe he survived this.
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
I believe in this moment the sin is being committed by this character.
Yeah, exactly. I believe they had a lightsaber in the previous sin, and they do not have one now in this scene.
Like the current 20-minute.
Oh my God, your Jeff Goldblum impression just made me pee my pants.
It'd be like an hour long.
Yes, it would be an hour long.
Yeah, I was trying to think of who's like a really good ranter, and the first person that came to my mind was Penn Jillette. He does a good rant. So that was.
We'd have to get him for Beyond the Grave too, but Sam Kinison would fall under that.
Sure.
What? Penn Jillette?
No, Sam Kinison. I was saying that
Oh,
would.
I didn't hear the Sam Kinison. I was like, when did that happen?
No. Finn Gillette's very alive.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Kinison, not so much. But,
Right.
He's a
All
good
right,
ranger.
next question. What do you think is the weirdest, most out there movie to receive an Oscar nomination, not necessarily win one, but just get nominated? For me, it has to be Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa.
Mm-hmm. You know, this was a Best Picture nominee. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close was a really stunning Best Picture nominee. I know they expanded the field. I think it was that year, but considering the critical, the critical response, and I believe it wasn't that big of a hit either. The fact that it got Best Picture was truly out there to me. So it was really weird that it got nominated.
That was
Anyone
the
else?
first year, right?
I think it was 2010, 2011, where one of those where they were like, well, The Dark Knight didn't get nominated, so now we got to expand it to 10 for some reason. So let's make room for Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close when we do that. So
It wouldn't have shocked me even if they had 10 that year if Dark Knight still didn't get nominated, though, because it's just so rare for a comic. I mean, Black Panther's the only one, right? I think.
Didn't Suicide Squad get nominated? The
Well, not
David
Best
Ayer
Picture,
version?
but yeah, it got nominated. It won for makeup, maybe.
Makeup.
I think it was
effects,
makeup.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the Oscar-winning Suicide Squad. That's the.
I
That's what they
can't
call-
believe that the first 3 Transformers films have all been nominated for varying Oscars in
Yeah.
like special effects and whatever.
I mean, there's a trash heap of Oscar nominees out there because of
It's crazy.
some aspect that was good in the movie that was the only good aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
So
What?
Yeah.
I love the movie, but it's just more ridiculous nomination. I love Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. I think it's insane though that he got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. It's fucking Hamlet. Like
yeah.
he didn't add anything.
Mhm.
He literally filmed Hamlet.
Yeah.
That's I mean, if William Shakespeare had been nominated, fine. But it's just like it's crazy. Like what a weird I think he
Yeah.
even said something about that at the time. Like they had to give him a credit because you have to do that with a guild and everything. But like he didn't change anything.
Yeah. That is weird.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. What existing Sins video would you like to get a different writer's take on? Similarly, what's one movie you didn't write for you wish you had? Who wants to tackle this one?
So this is one of those where you're like, do I like if I answer this? I'm due the schedule, so I'm responsible for people who write on these scripts. But the first Blade Runner, I think, would have been good for me to get to be on, and that was just a thing that I would have liked to have been on, and I think I wasn't on it just because there was just too many other ones that I was on that particular month. But the ones that I want to see all of you guys on that you were not around for at the time, we had, before there was a Sin Week, there was a Sex Week.
What?
I'm gonna just leave it there. No,
How'd I miss that? God. Why did we stop that the year I got hired?
Wait.
Well,
Oh my God.
there was when 50 Shades of Grey came out, we decided to tentpole all of the tentpole. We started to we wanted to do a bunch of other movies that had explicit sexual activity in them and send those movies. So we had Basic Instinct, we had Showgirls, and we had
Nice.
9.5 weeks in the entire week. That was a lot of fun, by the way. That's the most perviest ever week we've ever done. There was one. The funniest thing ever, by the way, was the Basic Instinct one where Michael Douglas has the. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he says he's looking up at her while he's pleasuring her, and he's like, and the sin is, "I'm going to eat you out," face, and I just I remember we had to I remember we saw the first version of that video, and Jeremy was like, okay, we can't see anything in this frame, but we're gonna have to like do something here because it's so obvious that he's in between her legs at this point. Anyway, would have been great. It would be great to redo those videos with all of your input on it. Just to see what you would come up with, because that was a lot of fun.
Chris and I took a trip with a couple guys from our management company to New York, and we met with some media companies, and all those meetings were basically spitballing ways we might create content to work together. So I think we met with some people at Bravo, because I remember that guy was like, he opened the meeting by saying, "Tell me what you know about our shows," and I wanted to say goodbye. As if our collaboration was dependent on our knowledge of his previous success. Anyway, really derailing here. But Chris and I took a meeting with a media company I will not name, where we went in and they had 4 employees there, and 3 of them were female. And to show them an idea of our content, we played the Tangled video.
Oh God!
Was it Tangled? No, not Tangled. It was Frozen.
Tangled or Frozen. Yeah,
it was Frozen.
Those are like 2 of your highest views too.
Anna
right?
wakes up in bed and her hair is all tangled, and the sin is I'd still hit it.
Oh no!
And I wanted to crawl under the table. And honestly, 45 minutes later in this meeting, I was talking about my underwear. I shit you not, because they asked about brands that we would be passionate about, and I was so in love with my new kind of underwear. I just started saying I would pay them to let me advertise for these underwear. This was a very weird meeting that those of you who are not there should be glad you were not there.
Oh no!
Amazing.
The person who was in charge of that meeting, to her credit, was just like, "Oh, this is totally cool with me."
Yeah, she did not act as though she was offended.
Yeah,
even though I
still wanted to crawl up into a hole and
the
die.
point of the sin is that her hair didn't make a difference. If she's pretty, she's pretty. It's not about the hair. It's not that I want to have sex with a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know this, right?
It's not only about that. It's not
Yeah,
only
not just the hair. Yeah.
Right, correct.
Anybody else?
I just wrote real quick. I did because I was thinking of stuff before I was there, and then I actually came across one before. I think all of us were there except for Chris and Jeremy. But I thought it would be interesting to get Danae's perspective on It Follows, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that you did Jennifer's Body, and that was fascinating. So It Follows is kind of another one of those like social type horror movies that it would be really cool to have your perspective on. So that was mine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
That
she'd
one went
probably
pretty
enjoy
well.
that more than Jennifer's Body. I mean, I like both movies, but Jennifer's Body's a lot more correct.
Well, Jennifer's Body's got like comedy in it though and stuff. Like It Follows is pretty bleak.
It is.
Yep.
Well, we just ground this show to a halt.
All right, now that's it. Good night, everybody.
Mine's easy. I would have loved to do Back to the Future. Like that's always going to be a little bit of sadness in my life that I didn't get to sin Back to the Future. But at the same time, maybe it's a blessing. Sometimes you just don't want to sin the stuff that you love, perhaps. But yeah, that would have been fun.
All right, we'll go on to the next one. What food or snack would you add to movie theater concession stands?
Okay, this is a booby trap of a question. No matter what you answer, somebody's going to say, I've been to a theater that sells that at a concession stand. And I both appreciate and hate that question. My answer is beef jerky is still my favorite movie snack, and I bring it myself because they don't seem to ever sell it.
What?
Well, cue the comments saying they sell beef jerky down in Austin.
Right.
Mine was sushi, but you'd have to actually have like a sous chef. Like you couldn't just have like, just gas station sushi. But that'd be awesome. And I'm sure there's one somewhere that has like a sous chef.
Sure.
Beverly Hills or something.
I would go with Lucky Charms or Cinnamon Toast Crunch. One of the two.
I have seen you eat Lucky Charms, like a lot of Lucky Charms at that buffet we were at that one time.
Yeah, I love Lucky Charms.
Maybe
They had
never mind.
cereal at a
I'm not gonna say it.
buffet.
Yeah, it was a breakfast buffet. It was when we were at that Comic-Con first weekend I met Aaron. We ran into each other.
In my imagination, it was just this buffet of all different kinds of cereal.
Oh, I think Lucky Charms just wanted the cereal.
You mean heaven? Yeah, no, it's one of those things where I think cereal is a great like snack. Like you can have milk in it. That's great. I eat most of my cereal with milk, but like Lucky Charms is a great just like snack. And I think like breakfast cereals can be dry snacks and they just aren't often used that way. So.
Yes, let's add more crunches to the general
That's
auditorium.
exactly what I was
Chris
thinking.
is like, fuck you and your lucky charms.
Dude,
That
seriously,
wasn't
the
the question.
crunching,
That wasn't the question.
the crunching
No,
must
yeah.
go.
It's gotta go.
If I own a movie theater, no crunchies.
No
sorry.
Well, then you'll love mine. Mine's fresh fruit. Like
There you go.
strawberries
Well,
and
yeah,
melon.
it can't be apples, right? It can't be apples.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is there
Yep.
like a crunchometer where we have to measure everything's crunch?
There should just
Chris's
literally
answer is like
be
Chris's
an
answer is like
audio.
mashed potatoes. Like what the what is,
No,
Fuck you. No,
Watered
I
down
mean,
rice.
like gushers. That would be the candy that I'd want them to serve at a. So that those make no noise except the happy noise inside of your mouth when you eat.
anybody else want to take a shot at that one?
I would remove some things.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's hear it.
Aside from all the crunchy stuff that already exists, nachos. I don't know. That might be about it. But no, I think it's mostly fine. But I do know there's kind of like a trend of like they're kind of expanding concessions a lot in different places. You have like almost like restaurant type stuff at like the Alamo,
Like
Drop
dining
Pads and
theaters,
stuff.
yeah.
Mhm.
We have some of those.
I do enjoy those places and whatnot, but I am a bit nostalgic for like the I guess the golden era of my like preteen youth of like going to the movie theater is so like it's just like Sour Patch Kids, popcorn, and soda, and I feel like I don't really need anything else.
We have a dine-in theater in Franklin, Tennessee, and it seems like every time I get stuck in one of those, I've always got like the 5 people around me that order fish, and that smell for like 2.5 hours is
You
just
don't
not
need that. And I'm telling
Yeah.
you, those nachos, I ate those Regal nachos consistently while working for Regal. I don't know what they're serving today, but the cheese back then was at least
It's a bag of
63%
Doritos.
chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah, those nachos are crunchy. They're smelly. If you're serving fish at a movie theater, it's like you don't even know what you're doing. God, I should get back into that business, except it would kill me.
All right, let's see. What movie do you know, capital K-N-O-W, that you could write a better ending to? What movie do you know that you could write a better ending to?
Oh.
This is obscure, a little bit obscure, but The Spanish Prisoner, I could write a better ending to. It's one of those movies. David Mamet did this back in the 90s. It stars Steve Martin and Campbell Scott.
I'm very curious here. I don't hate that ending, but I've always thought it was a little
I can't
abrupt.
remember what the ending is.
Well, the thing is, so I don't know if you want to go through the whole movie, but like Campbell Scott is being conned by Steve Martin throughout the entire time. And I can't remember the David Mamet's wife's name that's in that movie too. Rebecca Pigeon is sort of like his friend in this, who's like helping him out and everything. But anyway, he's being conned, and then by the end of it, like there's a whole bunch of things that have to happen. Like he has to luck out in the most extreme way. And it's like he could have easily been killed, but then there's like these 2 undercover cops who show up at the end who are like, "Oh, we had your back." It's like, well, what happened if you weren't ready for the surprise ending yet? You would have just let this guy die, basically. It's, if you haven't seen the movie, none of this makes any sense to you, but it's too easy what happens at the end. There's a point where he gives the boat guy a ticket, and he's like, "It says here you're going to Colombia. Why would you want to go there? Why would you want to go there?" And then he's like, he realizes, oh no, Rebecca Pigeon is evil because she's the one who gave me this ticket. And then it's like a whole bunch of stuff falls into place in the last 10 minutes of that movie. Oh, I love the movie though.
Yeah,
love the movie.
movie rules.
Yeah.
X-Files, I want to believe.
Is that the second one?
No, that's the...
Yeah, because the first one was Fight the Future. You're talking about the one with the pedophile?
Sorry. No, I mean the first one that it ends with the spaceship taking off. And
yeah,
the really easy ending there is don't do that. Because as soon as you go back into the next season, everyone forgot that happened. And even Scully is managing to deny it. So if that's where you're going, don't do it in the movie. I don't know what they were thinking. I have a lot of bitterness
weird
towards how they did the X-Files movies.
That movie is so weird. I agree that ending should be different.
Just give us something. You are no further advanced at the end of that movie than when you walked into it.
Speaking of movies that end with a spaceship taking off, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'm positive I could write a better ending to that movie.
Could you write a better beginning and middle?
There's a million things you'd have to change to get to even make that movie watchable.
I keep like the ant scene maybe, and that's about it. I keep Kate Blanchett. I've only seen it once. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
just ignore me.
That Jon Stewart directed Steve Carell movie Irresistible.
Oh my God, no kidding!
I cannot believe that ending.
Which is super charming and interesting, and I think even fun right up until the last 10 minutes, at which point I do want to throw things at the screen. And it does ruin the movie. I can't recommend the movie because the ending is that bad. It pulls the rug out from everything that happened prior.
Yeah.
I would, just something recently. I didn't have anything, but I just think about it. I would definitely change the ending. I think you change the ending in Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think you got a pretty good movie. But if you redo that, you'd still have the callbacks and stuff that are annoying. But if you redid like that last 20 minutes,
I mean, they could have done so much with the surprise and we keep talking
you can
about
still have them there for sure.
We keep talking about the Ice Capades version. That's an Ice Capades version. The non-Ice Capades version where you're bringing them back is where they just kind of get seamlessly woven into the story instead of made a call to Dan Aykroyd while I was in jail, and he just happened to show up with the other two people at the end when we went exactly at the time we needed them.
Was that you saying that it would have been really cool if they had come out of the house as opposed to his friend?
Instead of Finn Wolfhard and everybody, like it would have been nice if he showed up and they just said, all right, well, actually, you don't know that they're there, but you know that they're showing up. They're going to the place. And we don't know when they're going to be there, but we know that they're going to be. This doesn't need to be a surprise. So yeah, you just keep you make it where we know they're showing, we know they're coming, and then they come out of the house because they've made the plan. So anyway,
anybody else?
Last century. I got
Oh, go ahead. You first, Angel.
Was it the most recent one? Matrix Resurrection.
Yeah.
Is that what it's even called? It's Resurrection, right? Because I loved probably the first half of that movie, and then the movie just kind of went away from me. Like I couldn't care less by the time I got to the end of the movie. But like the first 20, 30 minutes of that movie, I was engaged in a way that I hadn't been engaged in a movie in a long time.
Yes.
So I don't know what happened, and I honestly don't know how to fix it.
Well, they didn't know when either. Oh man, this movie starts up here. Where's my hand? Starts up here, and it goes.
I agree.
Very quickly. I am totally with you. The first 20, 30 minutes, I was gripped. Good answer.
Yeah, for sure.
Mine are weird. Like, for example, Serenity. I wouldn't kill someone. They're like character driven more.
Oh, Serenity, from the show, not the Matthew McConaughey.
The movie, right.
Yeah, the movie that's based on the show. There was another Serenity that came out.
Oh yeah, you could totally change a lot about that Serenity.
Be like, come on, let's not do that. Let's.
People in the chat saying they love Matrix Resurrections are about to get your Sinweek invitations rescinded.
Ooh, rescinded.
No, they definitely shouldn't have killed that said person. I agree.
It sucks because there's some. But the first thing that I thought of is a movie that I still can't think of the name of it, but it's where they go into their dreams, and then the little thingy spinning.
Inception. Yeah.
Like I would end it with whether it stays or falls. Like just tell me. It's still lingering with me to this day.
And I think the script had it falling, and they decided to leave you hanging.
It's just like it wiggled a little bit, and it's like a hanging thread in my mind forever, and I just wanted to stop. So I just want to go fix it. Yeah. So stuff like that, but
good call.
Well, I see somebody mentioning the Scott cut of Passengers, which is still a pipe dream. I did get 80% of the way there before my hard drive fell on its ass and died, and I lost my wedding photos as well as my
family
Passengers edit. but I'd have to change more than the ending. You can't just change the ending on Passengers to make that work. You have to change. You have to reconfigure that entire. You have to re-edit that entire thing, and I can, and I will do.
That movie. That movie, by the way, was, I think, almost. It seems like everybody was thinking the same thing. Like, it would have been better if we just didn't see him break her out of that containment unit.
As long as we don't know it until she does, that movie could work.
Right. Exactly.
Let's do this one. If you were to have a CinemaSins writers movie night, what is a film that the entire team would all enjoy? I will start with the Jeremy Scott edition of Passengers. I think would dig that quite a bit. So, what about you guys?
I'd go with the killing of a sacred deer. Just
you're just being mean. I haven't seen that. I do need an excuse to watch it, so that would be a good excuse.
Oh God!
You know what? I really like Yorgos Lanthimos, but I hated that movie too. So I didn't hate it, but like it was one of those where I was like,
I don't like it either, but it'd be worth it.
And Nicole Kidman, right? So that sucks.
He did. Colin Farrell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Man. I mean, I would just go easy, right? I want to get this right. Paddington 2. And if you don't like this movie, there's the door. Hope you enjoy your new job.
I think since like half the crew are Star Trek people.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other half doesn't mind Star Trek, or at least likes Star Trek enough to watch it. Star Trek 6, Undiscovered Country.
That'd be great if you would said 5.
Talk about explosion and fire.
Chris is like,
exactly.
This is like Star Trek Generations.
Like, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Star Trek Nemesis.
I never know what Danae's gonna like, but I'd still go with something like Clue because I just think that's fun for the whole crew.
Yep.
Ask more questions that Jonathan can answer Clue to.
Yeah. Hey man, Clue's a good answer for a lot. Movie I've seen the most times. Clue. Although that's probably not true. It's probably something dumb like Superman 3 or something. Because I was, when you're a kid, man, you watch some stupid shit over and over.
What's the best movie starring Tim Curry and Madeline Kahn?
Lord of the Rings would be a safe one.
I think so. Yeah, I'm just whatever it would be. I think it would be so hilarious, but I'm guessing we would probably have to watch it a few times because we would just riff on it the whole time. Because I would love to be in the room or just like this elongated thing. So my first thought was like, well, what movie has a lot of just emptiness where we could just riff and chat and have fun and riff on it? I haven't seen it, but like a Dune type thing, right? Where there's just like these, like there's just this lot of space. So, but I don't want to see Dune ever again. So
talk about a movie that shouldn't have gotten Oscar nominations. Dr. Zhivago.
Stab that movie with the
Did that win Best Picture?
I think it did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those that's considered like one of the best all time, and I saw it and I was like, this is boring. Maybe this was fun for people in the 60s, but it's not fun for me here.
Yep. All right. What about this one? CinemaSins puts a lot of emphasis on cliches. They're employed in a lot of movies and television because of how widespread and transparent they can be. But do you have a favorite cliche? What is your favorite cliche in a movie?
I think my favorite that Chris came up with is that whole dial tone thing. Because I still see movies with people on a cell phone where a call ends and you hear and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, they said goodbye, close the phone, put it in your pocket. We understand. Hit the red button. Jesus. But Chris noticed that and came up with that.
That's actually, it's weird. That sin actually somehow is derived from Alexander Payne, because on the commentary for Election, he talks about how someone hangs up the phone on the other end of the line and he says, now you notice there's no dial tone on that phone when it gets hung up. I wanted to be very clear with everybody on this, that this does not happen in the movie. And I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's pretty cool. And so when it came time for us to actually send movies that had the dial tone thing, that's was an easy one to go to.
I like the third act conflict cliche, but the reason is because I never realized that they do it so much.
It's the easiest way to get them to that third act. They do it every time.
It's wild to me that I've learned a lot about filmmaking in general, or story, like the way that stories are told. And
what? You learned about filmmaking from CinemaSins?
Denise, where'd you get your education? CinemaSins.
That's right.
CinemaSins. I went to the CinemaSins school of. But yeah, I didn't realize how I don't know, expected it is, and how much leans on there being some kind of a conflict where the audience is like, oh no, the two people that love each other suddenly are fighting, and that means that everything could fall apart by the end. And now I'm really into this because I want to make sure that they stay in love by the end. And so, or whatever the conflict might be. So some of my favorite cliches are like that. If it's not that one, they're ones where, because I've been, writing with the guys for a while, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. That is a cliche. And then my other favorite part is making new cliches. We experiment with this in CinemaSins a lot, where we'll just make a really long one that just goes on. Like, oh, here's another guy walks across the house and turns a doorknob and gets electrocuted cliche. Those are kind of fun to just throw out every once in a while to be stupid. But I did actually, I learned a lot from the ClicheSins.
Yeah, I want to jump off that a little bit, because the one that I never noticed until I started writing, until other people started pointing it out, is the being late cliche, and the stupid forced energy and tension of where have you been? Why are you late? And it means nothing to the plot. It is just a way to bring energy to that scene. And it's like, and once somebody pointed that out, I was like, that happens so much.
It's ridiculous how many times that happens.
It is. It's crazy. And then the one that since I've been writing, I've noticed the most is news position. Every movie has a newscast that is giving exposition. It's ridiculous. That one is insane to me. But yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite, I don't know if it completely qualifies as a cliche, but it's when you dig into the bad guy's plan, and when you dig into the steps that they would have had to take in order to get to an entertaining movie, and what they could have done instead. And what's the easier route that they could have done to get to the same result? And it's just every single movie has to overcomplicate either how the good guys get to the end or how the bad guy is getting everybody to the end. It's so fun to see the mechanics of.
Especially when we were doing that. We were doing that stretch of Bond films, and
they're the best for it. It's so great. And they do the work for us because they explain to Bond why their plan is so batshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Any others?
No, mine was news position. That's the one that definitely I noticed so much.
All right, some of your live questions. Has there been a movie, Catherine asks, that you used to love, but now you're kind of like, why did I like this again? What is that movie?
So many movies. So many movies.
In my mind. Was it Iron Eagle? Has anyone seen that movie?
That's a great one. That is a great one.
Iron Eagle.
That movie is terrible now.
As I rewatched it, like I had a VHS tape of that I taped it off of like HBO, like over like some home movie of like my childhood or something, and watched it like every week for like a year when I was a kid, and I loved every minute of it. And I rewatched it recently, like back when they were talking about Top Gun coming out, like Maverick, and then I watched Top Gun, and then I found out that movie came out at the same time. It was like I haven't seen that in like 15 years. Let me rewatch that. And then I was watching it, I was like, I don't know why I like this movie. Like it was not good.
Yeah, I think Iron Eagle did come out the same year as Top Gun. Like you would think that it was like a because Top Gun was so successful, they made this, but no, it came out the same. I think it came out the same year.
It had to be in
I remember
at the same time.
Yeah, I remember a neighbor and I used to watch this movie, and there was a point that we rewound 100 times because we were kids, where the guy is like, who's the main guy in Iron Eagle? Besides Louis Gossett.
No.
It's Louis Gossett Jr. Or are you talking about the other guy?
The actual pilot in there.
Jason Gedrick, maybe?
Yeah,
something like that.
It is Jason Gedrick.
That's it.
Nice.
He's on the bed and he's like, I'm just saying, I'm ready. That's all. And Louis Gossett like, you ain't ready for shit, boy. We just kept rewinding it back and forth. This is so things when you're a kid, man. Just connect.
That's the
Had
thing.
a
Most of
great
mine would be like
soundtrack.
stuff I just liked as a kid, like the Police Academy movies. I used to think those were funny. Now it's like, oh, these are terrible and also very inappropriate for anyone to watch in any circumstance. But
I'm
trying to think of something in the last like 20 years.
I'm going to draw from a very obscure well here. When I was a kid, I watched Transylvania 65000 in theaters, and I thought that was a funny movie. Speaking of Jeff Goldblum, I thought that was a funny movie, and then like saw it, I don't know, 20 years later or something. I was like, this movie is terrible.
Great theme song though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, if we're talking about kids, the problem is I don't go back and watch them. But one that I loved to watch with my family was Surf Ninjas.
Oh my
God.
Ernie
My
Reyes
wife
Jr.
loves this movie.
I loved that movie, but I wonder how it would be now. I doubt it would
bad.
be very good.
It's terrible.
It's probably terrible.
I will say
Knives.
Oh, sorry.
When you said money can't buy knives, once I went to a cutlery shop and I thought, can I buy a knife? And they said no, because money can't buy knives. We watched that over and over because like, oh, it's so funny. Like, and it's one of the only movies I can quote. That's shameful.
I do remember seeing Scary Movie the first Scary Movie opening night with a sold out crowd at like, I don't remember where it was. It was like Fountain Square, somewhere like that. Maybe it was Cool Springs. I don't know. Sold out crowd, and everybody was just laughing their ass off. And I thought I just watched like a comedy classic. And then like I watched it by myself like 9 months later and did not laugh once.
That's the way comedies are a lot, especially when you watch it many years from comedies always have that low, they always very much deteriorate over time. They have a half-life because of what they were able to get away with back in the day. So you watch stuff from 20, even 10 years ago, you're like, holy shit, you would not do that joke today. But Scary Movie is one of those that I remember because that was an all-time projectionist movie for me, because I would always go down and go into the crowd and they were just laughing, and it was like the best. Those comedies are like that though. You watch a movie by yourself, it's usually a comedy by yourself. There's something about being in a crowd, everybody's laughing. It makes a movie better. And then you watch it by yourself. It's like, oh yeah, some parts I don't like in this.
The first time I ever saw Die Hard 2 was the second time I had ever seen Die Hard. I had the flu. I was stuck in my apartment. I was sick as a dog, and I won't even call her a girlfriend, but a girl that hung out with me sometimes. Very kindly brought me some chicken soup and Die Hard and Die Hard 2 from the family video.
Nice.
Not Blockbuster, because we're not talking about them this year.
That's right.
And I had seen Die Hard once, watched Die Hard, loved it. Now I'm even more hopped up on goofballs and cough medicine. I put in Die Hard 2. It's the best thing I have ever seen
because
in my entire life. It took a good 10 minutes. Took a good 10 years for me to admit that movie's not very good. It's certainly not as good as the first one. You have to overlook way more gaps. But the first time I saw it, I was like, this movie and I are destined to be married and live together forever in Mexico. And it didn't happen. But
that's the magic of that movie. Like, it absolutely works.
It does.
Even though it shouldn't.
You are hopped up on something. Yeah.
Talk about like a sequel.
Everything.
A sequel that they made just like as soon as they could, and they had no ideas what they were going to do. And it's still, I think Rennie Harlan probably affected it somehow because he's just crazy. And, but I still love that movie. Like I can watch that movie all day. I don't like it as much as the first one, obviously, but it might be my favorite sequel. Although I do like Die Hard with the Vengeance a lot.
I have a very recent example of this. Although I think I do know why I liked it, but The Green Knight. First time I watched The Green Knight, I thought it was amazing. Like I thought this is one of the most glorious movies I've ever seen. And then when I watched it again, I was like, this movie is nothing There is nothing in this movie.
There's so much in this movie.
Why you got to make Jeremy cry?
What in the? Okay, I realize it's slow and boring. I won't take that away from you.
Yeah. It takes a
I
while to
think
get
it
rid
has
of it.
Thanks,
tons
Jeremy.
to say. How can you think it doesn't have anything to say? Oh my God, I feel like it. Serenity now. I appreciate your answer.
Best movie quotes from awful movies.
I'm terrible.
So I was just thinking about another one from my youth that I could have probably used for the last one, but this will work. Biodome is another one of those.
God. Biodome.
God damn it, that
Holy
movie.
shit.
I mean, I also watched that, and there's this moment when they're in the snack closet and they got really high off of, I think it was like nitrogen or something. And he like is wearing this mask and looks like a platypus. And for whatever reason, this was just the funniest thing to me. And he's just like, I'm a platypus. And so we watched that over and over again. And also in the moment, they're eating all of the food. And they're like, we got chippies. We got lots of stuff to eat. And it's like this whole way that Pauly Shore delivers it.
Anyone else?
Look,
Go ahead.
Chris is gonna go.
I'm gonna go. That one that Raul Julia says in Street Fighter.
It's so good.
Where he's like, when I killed your family, it was the biggest moment of your life. For me, it was just a Tuesday. Is a great line in a bad movie. Raul Julia doing his best in a very bad movie.
Doing a great job.
I wish we could still celebrate. I wish he would be around to celebrate him in that movie, because it's one of those that I think people would bring up and be like, you know what, that movie was kind of shit, but hey, you were great in it, man. You elevated it.
I've got one from Batman and Robin. Is Batman and Robin or Batman Forever? And Batman and Robin are climbing up some kind of fencing or something. And Robin puts his foot through something and goes, "Holy rusted metal, Batman!" And Batman turns around and Robin's just like, "This great, it's metal and it is rusted."
And it's holy, yes.
It kills me. It kills me every time.
By the way, someone in chat said, I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. They Live is a great movie,
is an outstanding movie.
It is not an awful movie. That is against the parameters of this question.
We mentioned Star Trek V earlier. I do like the "Why does God need a starship?" I've always liked that line because that is a good line. Shatner delivers it really well. I like how he plays that scene. It's just ridiculous.
It's a good line in a terrible movie. It's sort of like.
That's the question, Jeremy.
I'm going to stop right there because
I misunderstood the question just for clarity, but that's fine.
I'm going to go with the My Fellow Americans, one of the lesser Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau comedy team ups. But at the end, who is it? Head?
Yeah, it's John Hurd.
John Hurd. He's a tangential character throughout the movie, and he says, "Funny thing is, everybody thinks I'm this big idiot. And it's all a big facade." I mispronounce his facade. And I laughed for probably 5 minutes. And that movie didn't make me laugh other than that. So that's my answer.
Scarface has some good lines too. Scarface, which isn't a very good movie. The remake, the De Palma, the all I have is word in my balls. Is that the one?
I think you and I are the only one on that island, Jonathan, about Scarface being bad.
Roger Ebert didn't.
No, I hate Scarface.
Oh, good. I thought I was on an island on that movie because I know that there's like John Mulaney has a great joke about Scarface where somebody's like, my favorite movies are The Godfather and Goodfellas and Scarface or whatever, and he's like, that's like saying your favorite foods are steak, caviar and Skittles or something like that.
I think we'll say this: Scarface is responsible, I think, partly responsible for a lot of really good hip hop, though. I will give it that because it's.
Tell me you saw that
influence.
Clip going viral on Twitter today of the guy on the trivia show who's asked the only film Scorsese was nominated for Best Director or Best Picture for, and he goes, "Oh, I'm terrible with films. 8 Mile." Hysterical. He like admits out of the gate, I am out of my depth here. I don't know. And the fact that he named an actual movie. Oh, sorry. I'm the derail captain tonight, but I was reminded of that.
That's hilarious. Somebody in chat mentioned the line in Deepwater where Tracy Letts says, "Goddamn autocorrect." That is an amazing line.
Yeah.
That is an amazing line. I've watched so much Tracy Letts in the last like week and a half. It's like I didn't even know I liked this guy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's in everything.
Tracy Letts is
now.
great.
Yeah,
He is great.
awesome. And I know he's married to Carrie King.
My answer is pretty much everything McKenna Grace says in Ghostbusters Afterlife.
That's a good call.
But especially where, what is it? Do you know what cigarettes and hamsters have in common? And the answer is like they're completely harmless until you light it on fire and stick it in your mouth.
I like the grasshopper joke too. And like, you have a drink named Steve.
Yeah.
And she's so good. Like her delivery is so good on that stuff.
What's the one where it ends like it's shh like that? It's like what is a fish?
What do you call fish with no eyes?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
A couple people have mentioned that goddamn time traveling robots always covering up their goddamn tracks from Terminator Genesis, and that definitely qualifies. As a band.
Oh, that I was laughing for a good minute when he said that.
So funny, and that movie was so bad.
Yeah. All right, let's do a couple more. How about this one? Let's go off movies for a second. Not movie related, but any new or lesser known music recommendations for an upcoming 10-hour road trip.
Where are you going, Jeffrey? I have no idea where you're coming.
Well, the aforementioned Harry Styles song, which will get you 3.5 minutes through your journey. I have previously on Recotopia recommended the brand new Casey Musgraves album. That will take at least another hour. And now I will step back and let others contribute.
This isn't super new, but there's a band I've recently discovered called Silent Theory. They've only had 3 albums. Their first one was like in 2010, 2011. That one's not great, but they did one in like 2016 that's awesome. And then they just did one, I think, last year that's also very awesome. They're very much, it's rock. I mean, it's not quite metal, but it's more just hard rock. But it's I don't know. They've grown on me. I've been listening to those albums pretty much nonstop when I've chosen music lately. So
I know that both Jeremy and I recently got into Cautious Clay. This guy is awesome. I feel like we're probably like super late on that train or whatever, but like. That stuff is great. Like it was one day I'll just let YouTube run through every single one of his videos for like a whole like couple hours or whatever. It's great. It's great stuff. There's a song that I'm hearing on satellite radio right now from a band called The Hand and the Heart. It's called Virginia.
Yeah.
That song is awesome. Oh my God. I can't get enough of that song when they play it. It's so good, so well layered and everything.
What kind of music is Cautious Clay?
Oh boy. Ethereal acoustic pop.
Oh, cool.
R&B. I mean, it's R&B,
Nice.
but it's got a different.
Check it out.
I'll send you guys a Slack later when we're done with the link.
Thank you.
Something I've been listening to recently, it was actually something that was sent to me as a possibility for like the background of a video or something, but her name is Noga Erez, and she's an Israeli kind of hip-hop-ish rapper, singer. She's absolutely incredible. There's a picture of her that Danae is putting up there.
He's taking my person.
Did you send us something? Did you send us something in Slack about this? Am I remembering that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I sent a video of hers in Slack that I really love. Her new album came out last year. It is appropriately for what we do, just called Kids. And so it does not have the ding on it, but we could put it on there. But it's really, really good. She's really fun. She's really talented. And it's just like real vibe, chill, kind of fun music to listen to. So I dig it.
I'm going to recommend Donny Benet. This is an Australian musician. I sent you guys the video, very strange music video, song Second Dinner. It's just listen to it. That's all I gotta say.
Daniel's got some cool taste.
Just listen to it.
You're so close to like, NYC and stuff. I bet you get a lot of interesting people that come out there. So that's lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I could recommend a lot of different songs. Probably one of my favorite bands, probably for like the past 5 or 6 years, has been this band called Starfucker, which is the music is not as edgy as that sounds. I don't know if am I allowed to say that on this?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, God damn it, Daniel, swear.
So I recommend everything that they have. Neoclassical, if you're into it. Olafur Arnalds from Iceland. He's an Icelandic musician.
Nice.
Yeah,
Look at the
I
diversity.
feel like everybody's going to need to on our Slack channels needs to lay down all the tracks that they're listening to right now because that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Any others before we move on to what might be the final question of the night?
Cautious Clay.
Final question from Crimson. Question: has Danae found the snack room yet?
That's the final question. We'll see y'all later. Have a good night.
Yep.
She knows where it is. It is impenetrable.
It's a big deal.
It's not that big of a deal. It's fictional, first of all.
It's right by the water cooler.
Yeah, by the
I knew
fictional
it.
water cooler. The key is fictional. The lock is fictional. It's the Worthington 3000 from Italian Job. Yeah, there is no snack room in reality, and Danae may never get the key. But if she does, you will be the first to know.
It's weird that me and Daniel were let in on day one, and you're still holding this over Danae.
That's funny because you weren't supposed to tell her.
Okay.
All right. I think that'll wrap it up. Love you guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com and be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/bts.